Hello recruits, and as you can see by these severed profile pictures of my fellow animators, I will be drawing myself in more YouTuber art styles, starting with this odd fella. By the way, if there's some loud background noise, it's because I'm recording this during like a very heavy weather storm with thunder. Probably not my brightest idea, but as you can see, sort of, I'm drawing both the classic and the modern styles like I did with Jade in last art style video. Mainly just cause like, I feel with them both, their classic forms and their more modern forms are pretty distinct from one another, and usually people remember the classic ones more fondly, and personally speaking, I find them more charming, but that's just me. I am a sucker for nostalgia after all. Like, okay, so one thing I like that's consistent with both the classic and the modern designs of Jane's is the fact that my clock just went off, but I like how it always kept the face, the little happy face, in both of these. I like how that's always been there. That's like a staple of his design. Like, it always reminds me of that, the really derpy happy face people used to use on their Minecraft skins all the time. Back when I was playing Mineplex from like 2013 to 2015. I'd see that all the time and it just makes me smile. It still does to this day, and I like that he incorporated that in his design. I don't know if that was intentional, but I like it. I must say, this was also really fun to draw. Like, I was only like 20 minutes or say just getting into the sketches, but I was like, yeah, I can see why he draws like this. This is, well, yeah, like I said, fun. It's easy to animate on, the shapes are consistent, the shading is also not too complicated, and just, I don't know, I really like it. I also hope I really captured the charm of like the old school one, because I like the charm of just like when animators are still learning things out and it's just a single person, so you go with more simplistic sort of routes just to get a story and stuff across, just to like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I just like the simpler sort of ways people do their stuff. Gives it more of that homemade vibe, I guess. Also, James, if you're watching this, I'm not shoving you because I think negatively of you. I'm just shoving you because I thought it'd look funny. And I could see it, like, being a part in a video, like if I invaded that or some... I would say the S word, but I don't know if I should say that right now. Also, I've mainly spoken about your classic stuff, but I can enjoy your modern stuff too. I really like the My Thoughts on Bluey video. I've never watched Bluey, but that video makes me really want to do it. Like whenever I turn on the smart TV and I see Bluey, I think, huh, you know, I should really watch that. And I guess he's qualified to let me know on that, just because he's the #1 furry, I think. I don't know if he still uses that joke, but yeah. By the way, if I was a furry, or a feathery, I think it's called, I would be a crow. I just felt like mentioning that. Okay, I'm just going to warn you that there is a very long, semi-unorganized ramble incoming, but that's just because I fucking love Emirichu. Let me just tell you. Okay, so her style is definitely the one I was most looking forward to, and not only that, she's one of the ones where her current style is actually probably my favorite of the bunch. Mainly just because, like, I believe she mentioned in an art goal she wanted to, like, get a more refined style, and, you know, upgrading your software definitely helps. And I'd say, like, it's a very, very good culmination of all her previous work, just refined into one more really fucking good piece. Like, I think as them kids call it, I would eat your art or something. But it's true, you've done a lovely job, in fact. I'd say the colors, and especially like the hair highlights, are my favorite parts of it. But the part I most like are the eyes. They're just so pretty, and they're the gateway to the soul, of course. Pun not intended, even though very intended. And I just like looking at them. I wanted to like get the brush right too, so I could get that, I guess, graininess and choppiness to it. So I went with like the ink pen. But I also knew that going into this would definitely be the hardest style I've done so far. For reference, the hardest was actually Shannon's style, which took about 3 hours, but it's also because I really wanted to make that one very good for her. With Emily's though, Most other animators' styles are more designed for movement in mind. That's why they're simple, so they can move a lot without having to spend an atrociously age-long amount of time in one piece for an animation. But Emily's is more built around stills and making those good, and also structuring them in a way that flows nicely with the story. And on a side note, I find it really cool that people can still enjoy that, even without all the movement that's normally present in them. It's because of that's also why she's able to make more of an anime style without, like I mentioned, spending an unholy amount of time animating it. Dear Lord, that would be terrifying. But it's not like I really mind that per se. I like a good challenge if it's something I'm truly passionate about and enjoy doing. Like, I find that can be even more stimulating than if I was just normally, staying at the same level of challenging my skills. Like, I can see why people would go thrill-seeking and try and climb Mount Everest or some shit. But the main thing I want to talk about is, well, Emily is easily one of my top 3 favorite animators in this scene. The other 2 would be Tabs and, of course, the GOAT, Shannon. But to give you an example of why I like her stuff so much, if you've listened to any of my story times and similar before, you could probably surmise that I am quite introverted per se. Also socially anxious. And yes, I really wish I made more friends growing up as a kid. And the friends I did make were, as you can imagine, also pretty introverted just like me. And so that's mainly the trials and tribulations that I am used to. Introvert problems. But Emily is clearly more extroverted, and the extrovert problems video is one I really appreciate. And especially in the storytime format as opposed to just reading out a list of facts and such. I like being able to connect with people. YouTube has been helpful for that growing up, even if it shouldn't be a substitute, I know. I also imagine it's her extrovertedness that she mentioned that's also part of why people really enjoyed the childhood crushes videos. Combine that with just rambling on about hot man and whammon and whatever else and anyone else you're into, and you've got yourself a really nice video. Another one I really enjoyed is crying. So for a little background story time, I had a phase for the longest time growing up as a teen where I just really couldn't cry. In fact, I was really detached from my emotions in general. And it really sucked because it's oh god, am I really emotionless? What does that say about me as a person? But thankfully, it took maybe 3 years, but around 2018, I actually did manage to get back in touch with them and cry again. The thing that really helped with that was just learning about mental health, because back in 2018, I feel like people were more compassionate and also willing to learn about that sort of thing. And that really helped me to understand myself and such. So naturally, Emirichu's crying vid also really plucked at the heartstrings per se. And yeah, it is healthy for people to shed those tears, especially for you guys out there, because I know a lot of you are expected to just be almost robotic in a sense. And sometimes even ashamed for your emotions and such, and I just think that's such a failure on society's part. I don't like it, and I don't imagine a lot of them dislike it either, whatever the word, I don't know. But that's also something Emily brought up in that video, and I really appreciated that. Thank you for that so much. Thank you too for just being honest about your emotions and down to earth, I mentioned that too in my tweet to her with the fan art, which I'm thankful you saw, by the way. Sorry I didn't say you're welcome or whatnot. I just get overwhelmed and sometimes kind of scared checking my notifications, especially on Twitter. And also a little anxious about showing too much affection to people if they don't know me. But if you're here and you're watching this by any chance, then I just want to say, you're so welcome, Pookie. You're so, so welcome. And I hope you also enjoy this art piece as well. I really wanted to do it justice. In fact, I didn't plan out the pose or the facial expressions for her or anything, but I also wanted to include her, even with being limited to just a 4x3 canvas. It took a lot of brainstorming and such, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. The little PNG JPEG of the strawberry there is one of my favorite parts too, just because that wasn't planned. But I also feel that would really fit in one of her videos. And another thing I want to mention before I wrap this up is just getting to draw myself in your style for some reason actually somehow made me feel better about myself. Like, when I was finished with it, I just got hit with a sort of wave of satisfaction, and I guess I'm not sure how to describe it. I just felt really good about myself, and the art piece afterwards that I haven't in like most of the pieces I ever draw. Plus, I actually get to represent more of the detail in my curly hair, which sadly isn't purple IRL. I would like to dye that once I get the money someday. One day I'll do a face reveal, but that'll probably be way in the future. But you know, I can't lie, I just like feeling good about myself and my appearance for once. And yeah, I'd like to send you more fan art sometime. Like, when I get to travel, I do have this idea of something physical I could like make and give her, but that's for when I actually have the money to travel, cause like my about says, I'm broke as shit. Maybe one day I'll also open up a sticker shop and commissions, but I have no experience with that. So we'll just see how we navigate it. And maybe I could help Emily empty her wallet faster with art like that. But yeah, I love how this turned out. I hope you enjoy. Hello to all the... how does it go again? Hello to all the geeks and peeps, the explainers and entertainers, all of Rebecca's little oodalollies. Soul here, I hope you enjoy this. Okay, so after I got done with the Emirichu art, which I love, by the way, I was like, I should take a break after this. And then I did, and that turned into procrastination, and that threw me off balance when it comes to just, you know, my internal mechanisms with art and stuff. So going into this, I was like, I can't do this, or something like that. And for the first hour or so, it was pretty unfun for the most part, because I didn't really know what the pose should be, and I wanted to capture more of that cartoonish theater kidness that Rebecca has so proudly worn over the years. I must say, I also respect how consistent her style has remained as it has evolved through the years. That is very cool. Thank you for that. You're so cool. You're so cool, witch. Yeah, I really got down on myself because it felt like when I was drawing these sketches, it was like something is missing. I don't know, something is off. Am I too skinny? Am I, something, whatever? I don't know. I can't go back to my thoughts now. But all you need to know is that I was just, you know, struggling in a non-enjoyable way. But somewhere around the middle point, like when I started drawing Rebecca, I thought, yeah, that looks like her. That actually looks a lot like her. And the more I got into that and just draw that, which is why I draw the other folks, the other YouTubers in these art videos. It's not to self-insert myself, it's just so I can have like a frame of reference and also make like a cute little photo. Like, I'd say that's when things started to turn around for the better and I started to have fun with this again. And that's good, because fun is probably the most important thing, aside from money sometimes, when it comes to just doing art sustainably and long-term. I'd also like to point out that when I was playing around with the facial expressions and the lack of mouth, I actually came to realize that, you know, damn, this is actually pretty damn hard. Good job for actually doing it. Like, the expressiveness even without the mouth is one of the things I always admired about the style, and I know that's why she does it. In fact, I should study her stuff, like Rebecca's stuff, if I wanted to, like, improve on my expressions. And I know, too, when it comes to her style, when there's other YouTubers involved, she usually draws them, like, in their style rather than her own mouthless style. And I think that's cool. I just didn't use it just because, well, for one, I am definitely not established enough to be on that sort of level, so I don't feel like I would be included in that sort of way. And two, I just really wanted to go for more of the iconic, mouthless, Parham style that we all know and love. Like, I just want to say, her confidence on camera and just the way she's able to carry herself is just honestly hella inspiring. I'm always trying to, like, get more confident and expressive with myself on camera as well. I think I mentioned this in the last art style videos, but that's something you can always improve on, I'd say. I think we need a little more personality in this more content or retention-based driven meta of YouTube that we've been so used to, like post-COVID era or something. And you know, I just miss the days when YouTubers felt more like relatable community members rather than just like a game show host or a talking head, a deliverer of information or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I'm just stating what I prefer. And that's part of why I feel I'm drawn to storytime animation and what I hope to, like, become in the future. So this one is a little nostalgic for me. You may be looking at this and wondering who JzBoy is, since most of the animators I've featured here have been storytime animators. Well, JzBoy is a Thai animator who, you might know him from the Stickman vs. Terraria series. I quite like that one. That's actually the series that got me to make my first animation. That's why this is so nostalgic for me. Which, if you're wondering what that looked like, well, for reference, this is what JzBoy's style looks like, and this is my style. Listen, it may be cringe, but it's my cringe, and I'm proud of that, because that's part of my development. I'll leave a link to all that in the description. But like James, this is the second James in this video too, because JzBoy also goes by James. And he's not just known for like Stickman vs. Terraria, he's also made a few other things like The Wrestle and, let's see, Stickman vs. Bendy and the Ink Machine. While this was the easiest style for me to replicate, having done it a few times in the past, I really like how James has just been able to, like, take a stick figure and give it a lot more visual personality. Like, it almost doesn't look like a stick figure at this point, it looks like something else, like a whole different kind. And I can see how that also transfers over to his skills and like how he does the Wrestle art style. And yeah, not much more else to say. It's just nice to revisit this and look at my growth as a person, starting from like that as my first animation to making something that I sometimes fool myself into thinking is the official art. But it's not, I made it. And that's pretty cool. You're pretty cool too. I just felt like saying that. And well, recruits, here is all the final pieces. You could probably guess which one's my favorite just because I love Emily. She's so cool. She's the GOAT. She's iconic, as that meme goes. I forget the rest of the speech, but I thoroughly enjoyed everyone else, of course. I would also like to give a very special thank you to Vanimations123 and Small World 2023 for all of the lovely fan art, as you can see here. They did all such an excellent job. I love how we're building this community, you know? And like I said, if you haven't checked out part 1, well, you can check that out right here, but you can also alternatively check out my actually good storytime animations right here. Because this one was actually really fun for me, and if you're watching this, I assume you're a very cool, very epic storytime animation enjoyer, and I'm looking for more critique and improvement on what I could do to, you know, get better about stuff, but also have fun. So, I'm Soul, and I will see you later, recruits.